Guys, it's your girl, Ashley Kirkwood with the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast, where we teach you how to start at the top of the speaking market instead of working your way up from the bottom. During this show, you will hear solo episodes from me, where I'll show you how I have landed and negotiated 5- and 6-figure speaking contracts and licensing deals. You'll also hear from our amazing guests who have grown enormous speaking businesses by utilizing sales and marketing principles that work. If you want to grow your speaking business, listen to this podcast, and then afterwards, head on over to ashleynicolekirkwood.shop and grab my book, Speak Your Way to Cash, How to Start at the Top of the Speaking Market Instead of Working Your Way Up from the Bottom. Ready to dive in? Let's go. Hey, y'all. What's up to the Speak Your Way to Cash family? It's Ashley Kirkwood back again with another podcast episode. But this time, guys, I am actually going to let you listen in to a live video that I recorded. Now, if you're listening to this live video on the podcast and you're like, I want to join your next live, I want to ask you questions, I want to be able to get feedback about my business, then you have to follow me on Instagram at the Ashley Nicole Show, and make sure you're following the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook page. All right. Make sure you're following the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook page, because that's where I go live. I also sometimes go live in the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group, but enough about that. Even though you may have missed it live, you're about to hear it again. So listen into this live episode and let me know what you think. You can always send me an email to ashley@speakyourwaytocash.com. Let's listen in. Hello. My name is Ashley Kirkwood with the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast. So excited to be here with you today. If you are listening to this, you are likely a speaker, author, entrepreneur, or someone else who wants to make corporate clients or collegiate clients a part of your revenue stream. And you may just need the boost of confidence to do it. And that is why I am thrilled to introduce you to Kenyatta Young today. She's a former Speak Your Way to Cash Academy member. She's attended our events, and she is the author of a book called Light It Up, Sis. I'm so excited for her to chat about her journey today. Kenyatta, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Ashley. It's just an honor and a privilege to be here today, I must say.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about what you have going on right now. How do you describe yourself?
So I first started out with family is first, number one. So I'm a wife of 12 years with my husband, Earl. I have 2 kids. One, my son, he's about to be 4 in May. His name is Aiden. And my daughter, she's 8 and her name is Autumn. And so I start there first because everything that I do is all based off me wanting to leave a legacy for my family. So that's that for me. And then also I am a purpose activator. Whatever I do, I really, truly am inspired and passionate about helping transform other people's lives. And so I get the honor to do that through my 9 to 5. So I am an HR executive. I've been in the HR field for 16 plus years. And so I get the opportunity to do that every day. And then also I'm an entrepreneur. So I own a company called Pencil Skirt Project, where I have the opportunity again to help leaders to unveil their purpose, understand the why, and really understand how to build their confidence so then they can truly live the life that they ultimately want to, and then get paid for it. So I utilize some of my HR background to really get them there from an equity perspective. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell. Mom first, wife. I am a HR professional, and then also I'm a purpose activator.
Absolutely. And how does speaking play a role in your business?
In so many ways. I would say that number one, in my profession, in my business, not only am I a coach, right? So that speaking is very essential to be able to, obviously, when you think about selling yourself and being confident and bringing other people and developing them, speaking is so essential. Then also part of my business, I offer workshops. So as you can probably see here, my motto is to help shine the light onto others. And so that's part of my proprietary framework, which I'm sure we'll talk about more. And I develop workshops to really help employers and students really understand their purpose. And so speaking is the center of that.
That is really cool to hear. And you previewed your framework. So let's chat about that.
Yes.
How did you develop your framework? And first off, what is a framework? How did you know you needed a framework? And then how did you develop it?
Okay, so I do not want to take any credit. So I know Ashley is amazing. So I give all credit in some degree to being part of the Speak Your Way to Cash Academy. Being part of that academy really laid out the foundation of what a framework is, and just being able to have something that's packaged in a very clear and concise ways where it's easy for you to sell and pitch to your consumer or client. And it's not just basically specifically about your expertise, but being able to really articulate it with passion and with an acronym that really will stand out, where if someone sees it, they get it. So that's one of the key things that I got from developing the framework. And I must be honest, I had to do some praying and to really dig deep, because sometimes for me, I can be overly analytical and thinking like I have to have a full paragraph to really determine what my framework would be. And so it was very difficult for me to put it down into a few letters. And so it was a process. And so being part of the academy with your coaching, of course, giving us the rubric step by step and how to do that was very essential. But I must say the number one thing was mindset. So if you don't really have the right mindset as you're thinking about how to package who you are and what you can do, it's very difficult. So I would say that was number one. And then once being able to really being prayerful and listening to God and his discernment with your coaching, I was able to develop LITE. Yes, it sounds very simple, but it's very deep and rooted in so many ways. So the L means to lead with purpose. And so you see the L here and it means lead. The I is inspire, but also to help identify your distractions. And then the T is to transform your life with goals. And I always tell people, transform your life with SMART goals. And SMART means an acronym, and we can get into that, or you can buy my book, its own chapter. And then the E is to embrace and love yourself. And so when you think about light, people think about the sun, you think about positive things. And then one other thing I must say is market research. So I did not make this public until I did my research. Again, I learned all of this from the academy, and the essence about doing a market research is to really make sure that you testing your product in the market to see if it resonates. And so that was one of the key things that really not only kept me more affirmed to keep the light framework because I was so married to it, but I made sure that the clients that I will be servicing this framework to really was able to resonate with it as well.
Yeah, what I love about what you did with your framework is you didn't just stop at putting pen to paper. You went and made a whole book based on the framework.
Yes.
And I really love that, because a lot of people sometimes think like, okay, you're asking us to do all these things. You're talking about frameworks, but why do I need it? Or how will it clarify my content? And it really does help for you to figure out like, okay, well, how can I take this further? How can I get this in more hands? Because even if you don't go and speak at a conference, now you have a tool where every single human being can enjoy your message and your framework, and you're speaking to them through your book. At what point did you know, like, all right, I'm going to make this into the book?
Well, I must say that I was surrounded with some wonderful women in the academy who also had their books. And so I didn't necessarily think in that moment that how this would connect with the framework. And I said to myself, number one is I have to figure out a better way to monetize my work stream, especially when it thinks about my framework. And when I was in the writing process, because when I first entered the academy, I was writing chapters. I knew it was meant for me to write a book, but I just quite haven't framed it up correctly. And so when I finally was able to finish my book and I realized like this framework can truly be a good complement to it, I made the choice right then and there that it was not only important for when people call me and say, hey, Kenyatta, I need your coaching, but they may not necessarily can truly afford to bring me on as their coach. I have this book. So I was like, read this book, let that be your first stop, and then determine if I'm the right fit for you. So now I'm able to utilize this book to not only be able to be an extension of what I could be known for in the field, but also for people who want to get to know who I am as a potential coach of theirs. And then also for me, I'm not the person who liked the light, if that makes sense. I don't want to always be on lives every day, or I may not necessarily have the time to do that. So I also felt like this book can be able to build my brand presence in a natural and authentic way that it speaks to my personality. And then also I felt like working 9 to 5 and being a mom, it's hard to really monetize your offerings. And so I felt like this book will not only open future doors, but I have a little bit more experience, if that must say, where I can have topics that's more relatable versus someone seeing it on the website and they're like, what does light mean? Well, I have a book and this is what it means. And this is how I can add value to you and your employees or your students. So it definitely created more of a conversation starter, but then also a way for me to be more motivated to move forward. But I must say being around you and then also those ladies in our academy who also were authors definitely inspired me to move forward quickly with connecting those dots.
Yes. And I think this happened really quickly. So how long from when you first started writing the book to like, how long did the process take? Because I know there's people listening who are like, okay, I need to get a framework together. I want to write a book. What does that process look like? And I've been through the process, so I know how much work it is to not only write the book, but then launch the book and plan a launch and do all of these things. So how long did it take you to write the book? We'll talk about that part first.
So I would say definitely a year and a half. It took me some time to get what I wanted to talk about. That's number one. Mm-hmm. The framework really allowed me to provide structure. So in the beginning of last year, January, which is right around the time that I joined the academy, it made it very clear for me that I had to get the framework right. So then I can truly be able to lead the discussion in the book the right way and trusting the process. So it was not easy. There was days where I got hit up against writer's block, other days where I'm just recording on my phone and being able to literally allow myself to flow. So I would recommend that. Just try to just write. Don't worry about if it's grammatically correct or not, but just getting the words out on the paper. So then also for me, I learned from you is like, you can't do it all, so you need to outsource. So I really did hire a coach and also an editor to really be able to bring a lot to structure and to consolidate my thoughts into real concise understanding on paper. So that was very helpful too. And also I had an end game in mind. So I knew I wanted to have an audiobook. I knew I wanted to have the ebook. So being able to understand your vision is very important. So I'm a strategic thinker. So I always start with the end in mind and working my way back. So for those who are inspired to write a book, like, are you just writing the book to tell your story? Are you trying to develop a coaching program? Are you trying to use this book to really open the doors for future speaking engagements? Are you trying to just hold it for the shelf and put it in a library? You really do have to answer those questions internally for yourself before you start to bring other people in, because they're only going to go based off your direction. So that was very important to me. I knew I wanted millions of people to listen to my audio. I knew I wanted to develop a coaching program. So I laid out that foundation all last year. So hiring an instructional designer, creating that curriculum that's aligned to my book. So I really worked the end in mind. So that was very key for me. And keep going. So I had to divorce myself. There was a lot of stinking thinking. It gets very hard when you're like, this is crazy. No one will read my book. All of those kind of things start to come up when you get closer to your finish line. So I would just say getting the words out on paper is number one. Figuring out what you want and your why. Why do you want to write this book? And then continue to finish the book. And then once I finished the book, again, I had an end in mind. So I've already began to schedule time for pre-launching and other things that, I can definitely go into. But I really believe in answering those critical questions up front is important. And the reason why it works so well for me is because being a part of the academy, having that structure, answering those questions, giving your time and thought and prayer, asking God, what am I really supposed to be using this for? And that was very intimate for me. And so now I have the coaching curriculum ready. I have my workshops ready. So when someone calls me for a speaking engagement at a college and or a corporate office, I have materials ready so I don't have to work in the rear. So that's one of the key things that I did over the last year, setting the foundation, really authentically answering those questions and working backwards.
I love that. And it's evergreen. And one of the things I want you all to take away from this is she figured out how the book was going to be a part of the customer's journey. Yes. So the book is not the destination. We got an email yesterday from someone. Okay. We bought our book. And then they were like, they bought the Speaker Ready Cash book. And then I had emailed them like, all right, great. So we got the course. Like, are you ready to take it to the next level? And he was like, well, why'd I buy the book? And I'm like, sir, if you think
that's the appetizer.
It's going to teach you everything you can learn from me, you are sadly mistaken, sir. Okay. And the book is real good. Lots of good info. But like, don't be afraid to take people on a journey. Because I know there are some people who are like, but what if I'm selling too much in the book? Or what if I'm saying too much? Or what if they get mad about this? If somebody buys a $20 product from you and they are mad because you're not giving them everything in your soul, heart, and all your desires, they not your people's anyways. The book is supposed to be a part of the customer's journey. So you do want to think about where is this book going to take them? What appetite will it give them towards the end? What should they come to you knowing after they read the book? So when you have a framework, it really introduces them to all the elements of what you do, but it's an introduction. There's always going to be more, even if you go into detail about that. And plus, there's always going to be people, you can tell them everything, but they're like, nope, I want to do it with you. I want to learn.
And I say this because it's so important when people ask me, like, so what are you planning on doing with the book? This book is a series.
Yeah.
So I've already set up in my mind, I bought the bulk ISBNs. So I got 10 books in me.
Yes.
Right. I'm already thinking about having, when you think about Michelle Obama, now she has a book that's for young adults. I'm already in the process of making workbooks for young adults in high schools and grammar schools. And I'm already an approved vendor for Chicago Public Schools. So it's just being able to think, again, answering that why earlier on, it makes it so much easier to stay within your lane to create. So it's very clear to me. And so when people are like, why do you get up 4:00 in the morning what are you doing? First of all, I'm like, I'm hungry. Like I am so pumped up because I know the impact that the light will shine on others. I want to make sure it shines so brightly that they will feel the rays on their skin. So that's why it's important to not just get stuck with the book, but just seeing how far it can go, especially as it relates to speaking engagement.
Well, you brought up something that I want to dive into because you have a full-time job, and a lot of people listening to this have full-time careers. They're either in the academy or they're coming to the event. We just launched our event tickets. Well, we did a private launch to our we call them VISs, our very important speakers, last night. So we have people already bought tickets to the event in November, but they work full-time jobs, and they may be wondering, like, how can I build a speaking career, follow the principles that Ashley teaches, and be a wife, be a mom? Like, how did you get through the academy and you attended the event? Like, how did you do all of that with also, and you did all of it and you were creating your own product line, developing your curriculum. Like, how did that work? Because I know there's a lot of people who get caught up in like, oh, but I need to get in the academy and make a ton of money. And I'm like, no, you need to get in the academy and learn how you can make money for the rest of your life. Like, focus on the educational pieces of it. The money will come. It's a matter of when, but developing those assets is the most critical piece. So how were you able to balance that and develop such powerful assets?
That's a loaded question. I would say number one, I'm a very heavy spiritual believer and listening to God. So I do not do anything without his instructions. Number two is being in true alignment with if you are married. Like for me, I can speak from my personal experience. So having fully alignment for my husband. So as much as it was an investment for me personally, it was for him as well. So there was going to be some trade-offs. So we had to be in alignment. So that's number two. Number three is really make up in your mind. Why are you willing to make the investment on yourself and post it somewhere? So when you find yourself tired, because you will, when you find yourself not wanting to even decide to do anything more and creating anything for your business, you have to look back at your North Star and your why. So that why for me was one day retiring. Another is living a legacy for my kids and they're looking up to me. And then two, for me personally, I want to leave this earth empty. Like that's my personal endeavor with God. Like I want to make sure that urgency behind what his will is for me and living out my purpose, which is to shine light wherever I go. I need to do that with a sense of commitment.
It is here. The Speak Your Way to Cash book is now available for you to purchase. Go to Amazon to get your audio, Kindle, or hardcover copy of the book. And we have a paperback copy, okay? So you can get it on Audible and listen to it. And I read it myself. So if you love the podcast, you will love the audiobook. Go get it now. Speak Your Way to Cash, how to start at the top of the speaking market instead of working your way up from the bottom. A bit about the book. It's broken down into 6 parts, and it is over 260 pages of goodness, okay? Part 1 covers mindset. Part 2 covers getting yourself in the press. Part 3 covers assembling your 6-figure offer. Part 4 covers inviting people to work with you, sales. Part 5 covers delivering an outstanding speech. And Part 6 covers legalities that every speaker needs and how to build a team. I mean, literally, what did we leave out? Nothing. So go to Amazon and grab your copy today. And let me know you did it too.
And so I made up my mind and that I would not give up. I'm a very resilient person. I do not believe in the essence of giving up, and the element of failure is not my middle name. So I have used that to give me my own internal power, and I believe in affirmations. So I have it everywhere. I want to show you all of this stuff that's around my office, but I believe in affirmation. So girl, you got this. Like before I just got on this podcast, I'm listening to Les Brown. He's like, you got to be hungry. You got this, you're going to do this. And so whatever motivates you and inspires you, you have to kind of do that every day. So I don't necessarily say what I'm going to do tomorrow. I plan for today and live for today. So that is one of the key things that I've used for the last 2 years. And it has inspired me. So I don't necessarily think about how much I have to do. I just get what I can get done today. So that makes things a little bit more easier to balance. And I give myself grace. I put that in my book. And I really believe when people ask me what this pencil skirt means, but I really tell them the pencil is symbolic. It's not just a skirt. When you see it, it's fancy, it's very professional. The pencil is symbolic that many people don't think about the eraser. So I really believe in erasing things and rewriting. So that gives me ability to give myself grace. So when I may not be able to do the laundry, when I may not be able to, always plan the wonderful date nights, or when I have to tell my kids, no, you can't do certain things because mommy is working, right? So I have learned to be able to give myself grace in the midst of that. So, and then also I plan and set boundaries. So sometimes I can't join on those group chats, and maybe I cannot join, some conversations that has nothing to do with my purpose. I do decline, or I say schedule that. So sometimes you have to set boundaries when you make the commitment for yourself, even when you're working a 9-to-5. It's non-negotiable. So those are the kind of things I made up in my mind earlier on that allows me to kind of live this, I call it double life in some respect, but it became authentically a part of me.
I love that. Because, one thing she said is she doesn't make excuses. And I'm really big, like Kenyatta knows this, like I'm big on you create your own destiny. Like you are able to get it done. And honestly, if you are, couple things, you never want to complain more than you create. That's a big, big, big piece of being successful and having balance. And that's what I hear Kenyatta saying is like, she's not going to complain. She's going to create. And a lot of people are critiquers. Like they critique way more than they create. So it's like, well, because of this, and I actually need this, and I'm not happy about this, and da-da-da-da. Whatever you focus on will grow. And whatever comes out of your mouth really highlights your future. Like all you're doing is like, you're giving a preview of the world to where you'll be in the next 5 years based on your conversation.
Can I get a quote from your dad too?
Yes.
From your dad.
Yes.
When I was at your Speak Your Way to Cash, he was like, can you imagine your words being silent prayers? So just imagine everything that you said about yourself negatively. What if that came to life? So I've literally transformed the things that I only think about, but also what I say. And because that dictates your destiny too. I just wanted to add that on there as well.
Yeah, no, it 100% does. It 100% does. And my dad was one who was always like, what are you complaining about? Oh, you complaining about your job? That's them people that give you money, right? They help you pay your bills and you mad at them? Oh, okay. I just want to clarify, because there's people who literally don't have a job, people who can't eat, and I've always had good jobs too. So it was hard to be like, ain't nobody having sympathy for you making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm tired, but like, sis, like you're getting paid, you know what I mean? So you just have to be cautious of that. And the truth is, guys, because some people may look at Kenyatta or look at my life and be like, well, it's clearly been easy for them. They clearly haven't had any trials. They clearly have great husbands. That's what I call divorcing yourself from success. So if you are looking at something that Kenyatta has attained, writing her book, developing her framework, getting clarity on where she wants to go, becoming a vendor for CPS, setting herself up, getting all her assets in a row before all those windfall opportunities come knocking, so that when they do, she's prepared. A lot of people pray for things they're not even prepared for. Like if you were to get a call from Oprah to do a talk show, what assets do you have to show her that you're ready to go? Like who have you interviewed? What have you done? Like there's always something you can do at the level you're at to prove to your future that you're coming for it. And if I look at what you have now, does it prove to your future that you're coming for that thing that you say? If not, you got work to do. So I love the fact that you're taking action. And Kenyatta met my dad at an event called Speak Your Way to Cash Live. She was a VIP in-person attendee. Tell us about that experience. How was that for you? What shifted during that event for you? Just explain that.
Well, I'm going to try to do this and be professionally, try not to cry. But I would say it was so transformative when I think about myself as an entrepreneur. So from a business perspective, the way you were able to balance having, in person and live streaming, just me being an observer, not just as a participant, was like, okay, if I ever want to ever do a conference, this was like staple best practice across the board. So I just want to give you kudos the way you and your team was able to do that, host that event flawlessly. It was just amazing. Also, for me, I literally walked away. I still have my book. And I do look at my notes every day because it literally gave me like my 2022 framework, like what I needed to do, what I needed to work on. So I still am pitching, still following up, still making sure I keep my code leads warm. So all of those key elements that you gave in a very realistic way, I still apply to today. So it had nothing to do with just the academy, but the accountability of the community. Oh my goodness, that feeling you feel when you are amongst other like-minded people, it just gave me this fuel to my fire that continue to stay lit today. So I have created a network. Like those individuals I met, I still keep in touch with. I even have accountability weekly meetings with some people.
Yes.
And so the extension beyond that date has been transformative, literally. And then also attending some of the VIP events, I would say for anyone who's even thinking about not upgrading, you would be missing out. So make sure you do that. I was able to personally lean in more behind the scenes with how you manage yourself as an individual, as a wife, as a mother, as a business owner of many. And I walked away with so many lessons learned that I had to go back to my husband and say, look, I either had to apologize or I had to give him a hug and a kiss because of the way you were able to really be authentic. So I would say, again, I said this to you before, but thank you for being very vulnerable in that space because sometimes people just don't keep it real.
Yeah.
And keep it 100. So I want to say for anyone who's either thinking about it, complicating it, whatever, you need to make sure you attend that event because it's definitely one of those that you don't want to miss out on.
Yes, definitely. And I think we've talked about this, but what was the biggest mindset shift you made attending Speak Your Way to Cash?
The live or just the academy?
The live.
The one thing I would say is, I don't know if you remember, but you said, Kenyatta, you need to divorce yourself. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, you cannot afford to do everything on your own. You need to be able to hire resources. And I think I had a moment of like, what do you mean? I don't, I can do this by myself. I'm a superwoman. But in that moment, I had to realize that in order for me to expand, in order for me to really grow and scale as a business, I have to be willing to allow someone else to babysit my baby. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's like one of those things that the mother is like, when you give someone over to your child, you have this anxiety, like, no. And so I really, in that moment, I walked away with this kind of point of action. And so at the beginning of, I would say after like maybe a couple of weeks after we had the live, I had actually hired my first virtual assistant. I actually hired two because the thing that Ashley says, you always have to have a backup. So you hire the same person for the same thing, just in case something doesn't go through. And so I did just that. And it's like March, and I'm still holding strong, and I'm adding more resources, contractors, etc., to outsource. And so that was one of the major things. And it has allowed me to scale with all of the great things you see now is because I have help and support.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And what was your biggest takeaway from being in the academy?
First of all, you never know. Like, to me, it's like I've never met Oprah, but I always compare you to her. It's like when you never know, like when you are part of greatness and you're connected in. And I prayed for this moment before I even came in alignment of the academy. I said, God, I need to change. And I don't know if you realize I didn't attend Speak Your Way to Cash the following year. So I wasn't on that list to get the invite. But I reached out to you because you helped me make a Pencil Skirt Project a trademark brand. So that's how you and I connected. And you sent me that link to say, hey, if you're interested, you can apply. And I was sold from there. And the question for me, I always say, like, what is the most important thing I want to get away from this? And I said, I want it to be change from a mindset shift. I gained confidence And then also I was able to learn from I will call it the Oprah of speaking in general. So it's one of those key things that I walked away now almost a couple months later. It's like, wow, I legitimately gained so much knowledge, and why couldn't it have slowed down? I wanted to be back in that moment to ask some more questions, to give a little bit more insight, because it was just a phenomenal experience, and only one can experience to really indicate that. So I say that was one thing for me, is confidence, transform of mindset, and being able to realize that you have to be very, very conscious of who you're connecting with, because you just never know how that may benefit your getting you closer to your destination. So those are the main key things I got from the Academy.
Yes, this is so good. I hope that there's so many people that can just glean so much from what you've shared. So I want to thank you for coming on, for your transparency, for your honesty, for taking action. I feel like the best reward clients can give me is just doing it, taking action and doing it. And really what I hear from you is that you became who you needed to be to live out the destiny and the calling that God has on your life. And that's a really, really, really important thing. I was listening to, I forgot the name. It may have been Myron Golden, but I was listening to him and he was saying, people always ask what they need to do, and you need to ask who you need to become. What you need to become to get it done. Because once you become, when you are the person that you want to be, the action has to follow, and the results follow the action. But first is the becoming. And that's why I love Michelle Obama's book. I love when people talk about the transforming of their mind, because once your belief system changes, you become something different. You become something more. It's hard to be something above what your thoughts will allow you to become. So really shifting your mindset is the most profitable thing you can do as a business owner and as a person. It's the most impactful thing you can do for your family. So thank you for having the courage to become who you needed to be to walk into your purpose and your destiny. And I can't wait for all the great things you have in store. So tell us how we can get your book, how we can support you. Yeah. What do we need to do? And I have the book, so I highly recommend everyone get the book. Literally, it can change, or it will change your life if you read it and implement it. So where should we go?
Yes. So you can definitely go to pencilskirtproject.com. So you should see it at the bottom of the screen here, where you will have ability to get to know a little bit about me. And then also there is a tab where you can click on my book, and then you will see a very detailed overview of what the book is about, and even purchase it. Now, if you don't want to go straight to Pencil Skirt Project, you can go on Amazon and you can buy the ebook, paperback, hardback, and then also the audiobook.
Yes. And you read the audiobook yourself. I love that. Because I know how difficult
you set the stage, and I'm looking at you. I'm like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. So we all have a little bit skin in the game and impacted other people's lives. And then also from a social media perspective, you can find me on IG and Facebook, Pencil Skirt Project, and also Twitter.
Love it. Well, go get the book, guys. Go to her website. And even if you buy it on our website, review it on Amazon. That really helps. Everything helps. It is no easy feat writing a book, pushing it and publishing it. And for all of you that are authors out there, writing it is just the start. Because then you got to figure out, how am I going to get it in the hands of thousands of people year over year, day over day, week over week. And Kenyatta has done a fabulous job rolling out her book project. And I cannot wait to continue to celebrate all of her success. So pencilskirtproject.com is the website for all of you listening to this on the podcast and you can't see the video. Pencilskirtproject.com. That's where you want to go to get her book and to just keep following along to her success, and follow her on Instagram, Facebook, all of her channels. Just stay keyed in. She is doing great things, and only greater is coming in the future, and you will not want to miss it. So thank you guys so much, Speak Your Way to Cash fam. Please do stay connected. If you're someone who wants to attend our event, if you're listening to this, you need to be at the event. I need to see you there. I want to see your face, hug you, get a VIP ticket. Don't play around with virtual. If you got to do virtual, do it. We're going to do it on a high level, but be in the room if you can until we sell out of our in-person tickets. So you can go to speakyourwaytocash.com/event. If you're typing that in, for some reason, you need to type in www.speakyourwaytocash.com/event and get your ticket. And I will see you then. All right. Talk to you guys later. All right. Wasn't that interview amazing? If you're anything like me, you have pages full of notes. But here's the thing. Before you head out, I want you to go to facebook.com and join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group. That is where I am. That's where a ton of other speakers are, a ton of other people who listen to the show. We all congregate there and chat. And it's 100% free. Now, if you're ready to take your speaking career to the next level, I have two ways for you to do that. One, you can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com SYWTC live replay and pick up the live replay. That training is 7 modules, chock full of information. It's crazy. Go over there, read all about it. Or if you want a more personal experience, you already know that you want to be a speaker. You're ready to fully commit and you want someone to walk you through it and save you tons of time Googling and doing it on your own, then book a VIP day with me. You can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com, scroll down until you see the VIP day section and get more information on that there. All right. Thank you guys again for watching. Please do not forget to leave us a review. That is how we keep this train rolling and get some of the best speakers in the world to get on this show. So please, please, please leave a review. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and Facebook in the Speaker Ready Cash group, Instagram at the Ashley Nicole Show, and I'd be more than happy to chat with you and say hi. All right, y'all have an awesome, awesome day.